We are planning to fly an IFR from Crescent City to Eureka! Eureka! So what we have here is we're taking off from Crescent City, California. Now, let me first of all make a disclaimer. This is not professional. This isn't training or anything like this. This is all this is entertainment. I've never flown in a Cessna 172 or any Cessna for that matter. The smallest plane I've ever flown in was a Piper Cherokee. The smallest jet I've ever flown in was a T-39 Saberliner. And I am not a pilot, but I have been an aviation enthusiast, of course, all my life, and I'm also, flight simulator enthusiast. I've been flying Microsoft Flight Simulator before they even had trees. So anyway, but getting back to this, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking off from Crescent City and then going to Eureka. And what I'm planning on doing is I'm planning on doing an ILS approach to Eureka. And so looking at this right here, I wanted to look at the ILS runway 32. The wind right now is coming in at about 220 at 6 knots. So you look at this chart right here, the wind's coming in right around this direction right here. But I'm planning on doing an ILS runway 32. Now, what this ILS does, though, if you look at this, let's look at this, see if we can look at the expanded view here. Can I zoom in? So, what this ILS does is it goes over some terrain here, and there are some restrictions. Of course, you have to be no less than 5,700 feet over at Vomac, and then no less than 47, no less than 3,700. 3,200 feet at what is that, the final approach fix there, and then going down. Now the interesting thing about this is there is a note here, and it says right here VGSI and ILS glide path not coincident. In other words, they don't coincide, and so the VG is a vertical, I believe it's a vertical glide slope indicator, and the ILS, they don't match. And so what we're going to do while we after we get to altitude here, we'll go ahead and close that again, but what we're going to do when we get to altitude here is I've got a little in-flight video that just talks about that VGSI not coincident, what that is. So we'll be watching our in-flight video here shortly. Right now, let's get back to the plane and set everything up. And going to our flight computer here, we're going to go ahead and go to the origin and press the button there. I'm always doing that. Press the button and then roll it down. Okay, and then roll the small button there. We're going to use the Microsoft keyboard to help us out instead of twisting all these knobs. So press that right there, and then we're starting with KCEC, and that's Crescent City. And then we'll turn that off and then press enter, and then en route we have, okay, no runway already. Anyway, usually don't do the runway. I guess you can do the runway, but anyway, en route we got 2 waypoints here, and then we'll enter that. The first waypoint is CHID, which is CHID. I guess going to be flying mostly over the ocean here. Okay, so CHID, and then press enter, and so okay, 11.4. That didn't populating the nautical miles there for a minute. It was getting me concerned, but anyway, and then we got Coldu, C-U-L-D-U, so we'll press that, and then C-U-L-D-U, and then we'll press enter, and then of course our destination will be KACV, Kilo Alpha Charlie Victor. So that is our destination airport in Eureka. So KACV, and so that's Arcata, Eureka, California. And so we'll press enter there, and none. We'll go ahead and figure out the runway later. I mean, we're going to put in the ILS, but what we want to do before I even take off is I'm going to go ahead and set up my frequencies. So I'm going to go ahead and press the button there, and then highlight KACV, and then press enter, and then there's our frequencies there. So our ASOS, I want to put that in our secondary because we are going to do flight following. So press that button right there, and then go over here. We'll press this button here, and we'll go to the ASOS, Automatic Surface Observation Station. I think that's what it is. And so watch what happens here with this number right here. It's 124.85. As 118525. We'll press enter, and then so that put that there, and so that put that in the standby 118525, and then so we'll make that active. And then over here again, we'll go to the ILS. We definitely want our ILS frequency, and so that's gonna, this is the standby for that. And so we got 109.50, and we'll press enter, and then there it is right there, and then we'll activate that, and then we'll turn on our audio so we can hear. Going back to this now, we'll just go ahead and press and hit the flight plan. I think we're all set up here. If you look at our weather here, this is real-time weather, and we got some pretty bad weather. So this is IFR, definitely IFR conditions. The only thing I'm not doing is with these IFR flights is I'm not going by the flight simulator ATC, and I've known sometimes, I remember one time they asked me to climb to 18,000 feet, and I don't have any oxygen in my Cessna 172. Usually I don't know if they would in real life ask me to go to 18,000 feet. So we got the brakes off, we got everything off here. Go ahead and I don't know if you would put fuel pump on for possible icing conditions. I don't know, but anyway, we are going to possibly get into some icing conditions, I do believe. The outside air temperature, looking at this, is, well, it's 11 degrees, so it's not too bad at this level. But we are going to, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, since the terrain, if you look at that, not that one, this one here, if you look at this right here, this approach right there, we got terrain, we got 52, 59, 5905 right here. We're going to be flying in this way and then coming in this way and then turning around. But still, there's 5905. So because of that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set our assigned altitude to 6,500. So it's 6,500, and I'm going to go ahead and announce that we're going to be taking off straight out.
Kilo Charlie Echo Charlie traffic Cessna November Charlie 77 Charlie Charlie taking off runway 18 departing straight out.
We got pretty hefty wind. I was noticing that windsock. Oh boy. And we got, I'm pushing some severe right rudder right now. I'm gonna get rolling here. Line up. Look at that windsock. So we line up here, and okay, I got pretty much a headwind here. So here we go. We have no flaps. Airspeed is alive. We'll rotate, gently pull up here. Wind is blowing around quite a bit there. So we'll engage our autopilot, and that's our roll and pitch now. And then we will go about flight level change now. And I'm going to hit my nav. And then we'll go ahead and contact flight following. We are climbing.
Seattle Center, Cessna, November Charlie
We are
77
climbing to
Charlie Charlie is type
6,500
Cessna
feet.
Skyhawk 1 mile southwest of Kilo Charlie Echo Charlie 300 feet. Request flight following. Cessna, November Charlie 77 Charlie Charlie Seattle Center. Squawk 5467.
5, 4, 6, 7.
Cessna 7 Charlie Charlie radar. Contact 1 miles south of Kilo Charlie Echo Charlie 700 feet. Altimeter tree 0.17.
017, still there already. Contacted.
Roger, Cessna 7 Charlie Charlie.
What I'm going to do now, I'm going to go ahead and set up our procedure. Enter ILS 32. Enter. We got Kudo, we got Jaeger, we got Vomac. I'm going to go ahead and bring it to Vomac. Press enter, and then minimums. In real life you would do all of that, of course. Press load. Not approved. Apparently I was looking at one video and they were saying this is lawyer speak. So they don't want to be responsible in case you crash into a mountain. So now we have our ILS loaded, and we are well under our way. We've got Chide. We're about 9 nautical miles from Chide, and then Kuldu we're going to be 25.8 nautical miles, and then KAVC 12.8 nautical miles. Now what we'll do is when we get to 6,500 feet, we are going to set our assigned altitude to 5,700 feet. Outside temperature is 5. Can't really see much. This is live weather, and this is live time. So this is real time. We are flying over the ocean, the Pacific Ocean. So this definitely isn't a sightseeing flight. But we're climbing at 80 knots, approximately 80 knots. That's what I set my flight level change to, is 80 knots. And keeping an eye on this outside temperature. I hope we don't run into any icing, but we'll see. I got my pitot heat on. I don't have any other anti-icing on this plane, of course. I don't know how it would react if the ice starts getting thick. I know that they're not designed to fly in the ice. So 6,500. When we get there, we'll watch our in-flight movie. I got track up. You have 3 different modes here to take the flight plan off here. You hit menu there, and you got map settings. Press enter on that. You can do track up, or you can do north up or heading up. If you do north up, of course, it turns the map around. Basically that. But I like to have track up. And the way I understand it, what track up is, you know, if my plane right now, looking at it straight on here, if my plane is going this way, if I have heading up, then the map orients itself to the nose. If I have track up, then it orients itself to the track that it's going. That's the way I understand it. So we are now at 3,400 feet, and we got our head in the clouds. This is called IMC, Instrument Meteorological Conditions. I got 27 hours on this plane. That was since update, what was it, update, I think it was update 5, or one of those updates, it reset it to 0. I have more hours on the Cessna, the simulator Cessna, than that, but it resets itself. So I'm gonna go get something real quick, and hopefully nothing happens. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Now looking at this, we're still, boy, look at that weather there. Oh, it's really thick. Now we are at 0 degrees. I do believe we're probably might run into some icing on this flight here. Hopefully not too bad, because I don't want to go below 5,700 feet. 6,500 feet is ideal considering the mountainous terrain, but this is our destination. Looks like the weather is a little bit better there, but this is what we're going to do here. Is we're going to fly to Vomac, and then we're actually going to navigate to Vomac right here, 5,700 feet. And I do believe, let me look at the flight plan here. Press this right here. You can kind of zoom in on it a little bit. So Vomac here. There's Vomac. So what we got there is we're coming in at over here. We're going to do a circle around. I don't know if we can circle around this way. Probably circle around this way, and come back to Vomac, and then we'll be on our ILS for runway 32. So I don't know if this Eureka Airport has a tower or not, or if they're going to ask me to land at another runway. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask them if they do that we can land at the ILS 32. I have my ILS frequency in, my ATIS or ASOS, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn on COM 2, see if we can listen. We can hear it. There we go. Wind 223. So that would be coming in this direction. And then of course 32 will be this direction. So we're going to have a little bit of a crosswind there. A little bit of a crosswind. And what did they say the speed was? So about a 6-knot crosswind. And so now we are at altitude. And I've got the mixture backed off a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and, well, the propellers, we'll keep it around 2,500. It's just about skimming the top of the clouds now. And first thing I want to do is, again, looking at the flight plan here, 5,700. So now that we are at altitude here, I'm going to go ahead and assign our altitude to 5,700. And I don't know if, I think we have to go to the next waypoint before we can do the V-speed, VNAV. Okay, no, it loaded. So there we go with that. Now let's go ahead and watch our video. And then, now this is talking about, let me go ahead and go to the video here. This is talking about VGSI, not coincident, and let's figure out what that means. That ILS chart.
Have you ever had this happen to you? You're flying an approach down to minimums, either an actual IMC or with the hood on. Here we're on the RNAV into runway 17 in Aurora, Oregon, using the vertical guidance of the LPV to go down to a decision altitude of 511 feet. We've got the glide path indication, that pink diamond on the primary display of the G1000, dead center. Just as we approach minimums, we start to see the runway lights poking through. We have the runway threshold lights in sight, and so can descend to land per 91-175C. But we're surprised to look at the 2-bar VASI off to the left and see 2 red lights. Red over red, are we dead? We check the glide path indication again, and it still shows us dead center. What happened? Well, it turns out we should have done a better job briefing this approach. Let's look at the plate, and specifically check out the profile view towards the bottom. There's 2 pieces of information to call out here. First is this note saying the VGSI and RNAV glide path aren't coincident. VGSI, or Visual Glide Slope Indication, is the array of lights letting us know if we're high or low on the approach. In this case, it's the VASI lights. They're used by both VFR aircraft and IFR arrivals transitioning into the visual phase of the approach. The note is saying that the path the VASI lights make is not coincident. It doesn't match up with the glide path from the RNAV. Then in parenthesis it says what the angle is, 3.5 degrees, and that it crosses the threshold at 38 feet. Over on the right, the RNAV glide path information is noted. The glide path for that is a standard 3 degrees, and it crosses the threshold at 40 feet. So there's 2 parameters, the angle and the threshold crossing height, that determine what the glide path will be from the VASI or from the RNAV. On a precision approach like an ILS, a glide slope antenna is situated to the side of the runway, usually at the aiming point. A signal is transmitted for the glide slope that the aircraft follows. On this RNAV, it's the same idea, it's just derived off a GPS position rather than a transmission from the ground. This glide path starts at the ground, around the aiming point, and moves upwards, crossing the threshold 40 feet above it. It makes a 3-degree angle with the horizontal as it extends further out on the approach. The VASI is a bit different though. Here's a view of runway 17 at Aurora. The aiming point is 1,000 feet down the runway. This is where the glide path is taking us to, having us cross the threshold at 40 feet. The VASI lights are shown on the other side of the runway, one near and one far. They're designed to guide aircraft to a point midway between them. Here, that point is about 500 feet before the aiming point. Normally, like the glide slope antenna and the point the VASI lights are taking you to will be the same, the 1,000-foot marker, that aiming point. But here they're a bit different. The RNAV glide path starts at the ground at the aiming point and works back at 3 degrees. The VASI works by having its high and low bars both showing white and red lights. Their midpoint is before the aiming point, and they're oriented to provide a 3.5-degree glide path, which looks something like this. It crosses the threshold at 38 feet, just a hair below the crossing height of the RNAV glide path. An aircraft flying visually will see a red bar over a white bar when on the VASI glide path. If it gets above the glide path, it'll see 2 whites. If it gets below, it sees 2 reds. The RNAV glide path, though, sits below the VASI glide path. They're not coincident, as the note says. So when we're on an instrument approach, following the RNAV glide path guidance down, we arrive at the decision altitude, have a look up at the runway, and because the RNAV glide path is below the VASI glide path, we see red over red. We should expect to see this thanks to the note, and now that we've transitioned to visual references, we should transition from following that RNAV guidance to now following the VASI. There's no need to overcorrect though. Just because we see red over red at first, that RNAV isn't going to fly us into any obstacle. We just need to slowly arrest our descent, get onto the VASI glide path, and continue down to the runway. These notes have been added to approach plates whenever the VGSI and glide path angles don't coincide, either because the angle is different or the threshold crossing height is, or both. And they apply to precision approaches in RNAVs with vertical guidance like this one, as well as to non-precision approaches that publish vertical descent angles that don't match up with the lighting. It's all there to cut down on the surprise factor and panic on short final. Working on your instrument rating? Want to be as professional and solid in the cockpit as you can? Training programs like the Flight Insight IFR Online Ground School will help you take your knowledge to an elite level and get you ready for your exam and check ride. Check it out now by visiting flight-insight.com/IFR.
So anyway, I thought that was pretty cool. Now looking at the, okay, now we have the ILS. looking at the approach plate here, it does say VGSI and ILS glide path not coincident. And in that example, it was the RNAV, but for our example, it's the ILS. And the VGSI angle is 3.00 TCH 43. Anyway, I believe what that means. Well, we know that it's not the glide path isn't going to coincide. Probably, I think, because of the mountains. We got 52, 59 right there. Look at right here, and then we got for elevation here, 52, 59. So we're going to be coming in pretty much, I guess where this line is V607, and but I would imagine that they don't coincide because of the terrain. So anyway, getting back to our plane here, we do hear now our ILS, and it's India Alpha Charlie Victor. So we have the right one, and we have the Morse code also. You know, if you look again at this right here, you have the Morse code for your ILS, and that would be, what would that be? Localizer. So listen, dot 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 dash dash dot dash dot 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 dash. So there we go, we got the right one. And we are now, we got our head in the clouds. We're now 7 minutes and 50 seconds away from our second waypoint there. And then our third waypoint is actually flying over the the runway, but we're going to do that at 6,500 feet. And looking at it, we're probably going to have weather to deal with. Might not even be able to see the runway a little bit. There might be a little bit of clearing. So we'll see what goes on. Outside air temperature is -2. However, at this point, I still don't see any icing on the windshield or anything like that, so that's a good thing. So let's go ahead and explore a little bit on the drone. We'll do an F6 to speed it up and then go down. Shoot. And so this is where we are. We're definitely over the ocean and that far away from land. Plane is up there somewhere. And we'll go ahead and bring that back up. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and slow it down. F5 slows it down. Slows down the drone. So, there we go. F5. We're starting to see a little bit of daylight. Again, this is all entertainment. You know, I probably got a lot of this wrong, and there's a lot that I don't know, but it's fun trying to figure this stuff out, you know, and seeing if we can do it now with this new Garmin G1000 NXI. That is now the default Garmin for the airplane, or for the for the G1000. So cool, do 5 minutes. Not a whole lot of air traffic going on today. Did hear something about Korean Air 5. And that's way up there. It's long gone now. There's a nice little program on the an app couple of them actually, but there's one that's called Flight Radar 24, and you can look up. Let me look up Korean Air 5. Is that all one word there? Korean Air. It's like Korean Space Air 5. The results. So I don't know. Korean Air 5. I don't see it. Okay, Korean Air 5. There we go. KE5. And that plane that ATC talked to earlier, it took off from Las Vegas and is going to Seoul, Korea. No, take that back. It took off from Seoul, Korea, and is going to Las Vegas. So now it is finally, after how many hours of flying over the ocean? I mean, the last time it saw land was over Japan, and then it flew over the ocean, and now it is over it just flew over Sacramento and on its way to Las Vegas, and I'm sure that pretty soon it's going to start its descent. But that was Korean Air 5 right there. Korean Air 5 descend. Okay, so they are starting their descent already, and that is a KAL-005. That is a Boeing 777, and it seems like the 767, 777, 787, those planes are pretty much the standard for international flights now. I know they produced the last 747 about a year ago, they're still flying, but there's going to be less and less as time goes on, unless they start producing them again, of course. And the Airbus A380 also doesn't have as much use out of it as they really expected. We got the course deviation indicator here. When we get to our when we turn around here at Vomac, then we're going to be changing our mode here from GPS mode to localizer mode. Basically switching from the GPS to the radio signals. 3.1 nautical miles, we'll make a turn and start heading back toward land. Wind right now, we have 22 knot headwind coming in. So that's quite a headwind. Vertical path is loaded. That's the V navigation is loaded. And then it'll go to 5,700. Look at that rainbow. This is live weather. We are flying from Crescent City to Eureka! We are in mostly IMC conditions. And what we're going to do is we're going to try an ILS approach to Eureka! In real-time weather. This is facing south right now. We just now did our turn. No, yes, we just did our turn now to Coldu. We have, you can see the plane kind of askew a little bit, and that's because we have a 22 knot wind pushing us. So if we look at the outside here, look at the top, it's looking straight down, and this is looking straight ahead. That's how much the wind is pushing us right now. So going straight basically is this way. This is going straight. If you were to look at it, from that, you know, this point of view, this is going straight. So we have, come on.
SkyWest 5, tree 901, you are tree 4 miles southeast.
Let me go ahead and zoom this in a little bit. What we're going to do is we're going to fly over Kilo Alpha Charlie Victor. That is a waypoint right now. We're using it as a waypoint, but that is actually the runway that we're going to land at. And what I want to do now is I'm going to see if I can go to the nearest airport.
Tree 901, you are tree 1 mile southeast. Descend and maintain 5,000.
And then we'll go ahead and tune the traffic there. And so we already listened to the automated weather. It's 119925. 119925? I thought it was 118525. But anyway, listen.
Kilo Alpha Charlie Victor,
This
automated
KACV.
weather observation 210 Zulu. Wind
Oh, the
226
KACV. I
at
got the
7.
wrong runway.
Visibility 10 in heavy rain. Sky condition, ceiling 1,900 feet overcast. Temperature 12C, dew point 10C, altimeter 3017.
So are we within range yet? We're not within range yet. Doesn't look like.
2100 Zulu. Wind
Okay, so
226 at 7.
let's go back.
Visibility 10. Kilo Alpha Charlie Victor,
Go
automated
ahead and
weather.
turn that off for now. We are in IMC, which stands for Instrument Meteorological Conditions. Really can't see anything. We are flying definitely off of the instruments here. And they say whenever you fly that you got to trust your instruments and keep the blue side up. The blue side. There's a channel, it's called 7-4 Gear. It's an actual 747 pilot, and he does a lot of YouTube videos. And what he does is at the end of every video he says, and keep the blue side up. And that's talking about this right here. And you look at this right here. These are backup instruments, by the way. And you got the blue side right there. You want to keep that up. So that was SkyWest 5391.
Descend and maintain 5,700 feet. Expect ILS runway tree. To approach via Jaeger transition. Clear to Jaeger SkyWest 5 tree 901.
SkyWest Airlines. I'm not finding it on SkyWest Charter. No, I'm not finding it on Flight Radar 24. Sometimes I just don't. I don't understand, but maybe it doesn't have all of them. But now we are over land. There's the airport. That's our destination right there. So now we have a pretty clear idea of what the weather's going to be like over the runway. We can see the runway now, and we're at 6,500 feet. So that road down below, I do believe that is 101. I'm not sure where SkyWest is flying to. I don't think they're flying to Eureka. He's telling him to go transition to Jaeger.
Descend and maintain 4,700 feet, SkyWest 53901.
So now we should, I do believe, after we cross this waypoint here, we should start our descent. We have a top of descent here. Top of descent right there. So we won't start our descent until after Jebga. And this, of course, is over mountains. There's a plus 37 right there. That's an airplane right there, flying right in our direction. But it's at 37. I think it's at 34,000 feet. Is that what that plus 33 stands for? Plus 33? Or is it 33,000 feet over our current altitude? It is descending though. I think that's what that is. Not sure. But I do know it's an airplane. Should see the numbers on it pretty soon. I have live traffic. There it is. That's the SkyWest. SkyWest SKW 5391. I'm going to put it in there as SKW. SKW. SKW 5391. 5391. I found it. It's going from Los Angeles. It is going to the airport that we're going to. So that is a United Express UA 5391, Los Angeles to Arcata, or which is this is Arcata Eureka. And so that plane, that's in real life, that plane is going to that particular runway, and maybe it might be on the ILS track right now. So if that's the case, then at Vomac it was at 5,700, because that's the restriction. But wow, this is interesting. It's 60. Okay, there's the real time. Go in my drone here. See it with the drone? There we go. See if we can kind of zoom in on it a little bit. It shows the altitude. Trying to speed up the drone here. F6. I want to zip by it though. Getting close here. There it is. I wonder if they have it as a jet. Oh, don't tell me we're frozen. Oh, look at that. So, let me slow down the drone a little bit.
Cessna 7 Charlie Charlie traffic is 11 o'clock, 4 miles at 3,800 feet generic. Report them in sight.
Cessna 7 Charlie Charlie traffic in sight.
Where'd it go? There it went. So yeah, that one's landing. It's not an actual jet like this. It's kind of like, well, it is a it's a United Express. It's a Mitsubishi CRJ 200, and it is on. It looks like it's on its ILS approach there. The exact same approach that we're going to be doing to KACV.
Charlie traffic alert. 11 o'clock, less than 1 mile, 2,300 feet generic. Report them in sight.
Well, we got them in sight, all right.
Cessna 7 Charlie Charlie have the traffic.
And so looking at this right here, zoom in here a little bit. That's the plane right there that just passed us. So I'm wondering what this number stands for right there. The minus 47. But now we are 6 minutes away from our next waypoint. And then how don't know how many minutes after that to that one, and then to Jebka. Looking at the flight plan here, our destination is the Vomac initial approach fix. We are 11.1 nautical miles from there. Then we're going to be doing our little landing on ILS frequency. Which we already have active right there. Once we do our turn. So that was pretty neat, you know. I mean, there's an actual plane there going to Eureka. It started out in Los Angeles, departed about an hour and 19 minutes ago, and it should be arriving there in the airport in about less than 4 minutes. McKinleyville? So that would be not quite Eureka. Eureka is a little bit further south of that. But in the area, good enough to say Eureka! But McKinleyville is where the airport is. I wonder if that's where, I wonder if McKinley was from there. Some of the countryside here. I don't know if we're going to be able to see any redwood trees today.
Seattle Center, SkyWest 53901 is missed
Uh-oh,
approach.
missed
Kilo
approach.
Alpha
I
Charlie
wonder if
Victor.
that's in real life, if it missed its approach.
SkyWest 53901, you are 2
So
miles
guess what they're
northwest.
going to be doing?
Climb and maintain 5,700 feet. Expect ILS runway tree to approach.
go to
via
Coldu.
transition. Cleared to Coldu.
Coldu is the missed approach. It's going to go right here to Coldu. And then it's going to be apparently going back to Womack where we are. If indeed it's a true missed approach. According to... No. I was going to say, according to the flight radar
SkyWest
24, it's on the ground, but
53901,
not
did you
yet.
hear my last transmission?
Uh-oh. SkyWest 31. So now we are Saugu. Top of descent right here. We'll descend. We'll circle around and then we'll hit our approach. And then switch the CDI.
SkyWest 53901, did you copy? SkyWest 53901, climb and maintain 5,700 feet.
That's where we are right now. As you can see, the ground there, we are in a little bit higher terrain now. Zoom into this a little bit now. We are getting into some higher terrain. So
SkyWest 53901, acknowledge last transmission.
So this is the level of terrain compared to our plane here. So there's the plane. And this is the level of terrain. So going back into the plane here, we are at 6,500 feet. We have the V path right here is about ready to be captured. And once we hit the top of descent, our V path will be captured. We have
SkyWest 53901, IFR flight plan is canceled. Radar service terminated.
I think that landed in real life.
1200. Maintain VFR.
But we got a 16
Frequency
knot
change approved. Good day.
side wind here. And then so now we are on our top of descent. We are now descending. I'm going to back off on the power a little bit. What we're going to do now is we're going to circle around. Well, I believe Microsoft Flight Simulator that they landed. Now there's the helicopter that's not too far away too. I don't know where they're going. But no, it's apparently, according to Flight Radar 24, the SkyWest isn't landed yet. And so this right here is why this thing requires 5700, is because of the high terrain. Look at the terrain here. We are just now right on top of the terrain. You might even get a 500 call out. But we are on the instrument approach here. Now we're doing our turn. We're at 5,700 feet. We are in the VOMAC initial approach fix holding pattern. I guess that's what you would consider that. It says VOMAC IAF hold. Got an alert here. V&V not unavailable. So on the way back, what we're going to do is we're going to switch approach mode and switch to CDI and then hit approach. We'll see what happens. I don't know if there's any redwoods in these forests here, but I know the redwoods aren't far away. Doing our circle around now. This is probably why the ILS and the VGSI doesn't coincide, is probably because of this terrain. So if we're high or we're low, I'm not sure, but when we get the PAPI lights, they will have to adjust accordingly just before we land on the runway, if indeed they are not properly aligned. There's a runway right there, it looks like. Yeah, you look at this right here, that's a runway 019. And a little dirt runway there. So now we are headed toward the runway. So I'm going to switch CDI and I'm going to hit approach. We'll hit approach right there. And so now the localizer, the glide slope is active. Or it's not, well, it's not active yet. It's loaded and it'll be active. So we got the diamond right here. We are now on approach. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and say thank you very much, Seattle.
Seattle Center, Cessna 7 Charlie Charlie, cancel flight following.
Cessna 7 Charlie, Charlie Seattle Center cancellation received. Squawk 1200. Frequency change approved.
And so that would be 1200. And then we are now going to go to the airport list, and our destination is KA. How come it's outside there? It is right there. KACV. And then we'll go into traffic. Select the runway for landing. And we are landing on runway 32. full stop landing. Position.
Kilo Alpha Charlie
We're
Victor
about
traffic
now,
Cessna
now
November
ready,
Charlie
ready
77 Charlie
to
Charlie
do our
18
descent.
miles southeast 5,700
We are now on the
feet
glide
inbound to
slope.
land runway tree 2.
We'll back off on the power. Still don't, okay, now I have the runway in sight. We have a good 14 knot crosswind. So I don't know, in real life I think maybe they would do a landing and then circle to land, so that they go into the run into the wind. I think it would be a little bit less of a crosswind when we get closer to the surface.
Kilo Alpha Charlie Victor
15
traffic
miles,
Cessna
so we
November
still are
Charlie
quite a ways
77
away, but we
Charlie
can see
Charlie
the runway.
15 miles southeast 5,000 feet inbound to land runway tree 2.
So we are now 1.26 to Salgu. We are on the glide slope. You can see now the frequency there changed from white to green. So that means that you've captured that frequency. That's the correct one. This system, the G1000, is amazing. It's a really good system. I think that, you know, as time goes by, that something like this will probably be in a lot more planes. I don't know if they use it for jets, but I do know that there's some turboprop planes that use it. So backing off a little bit more on our power. We're at 1 nautical mile from Salgu. $17 knot crosswind. It actually increased. Yeah, you can see we're kind of heading this way, and look where the runway is, but we're actually tracking toward the runway. A lot of trees. Looking for the redwoods. 1, 2 flaps. 1. We are now 1.5 nautical mile away from our final approach fix. 1.3 nautical miles away. Might as well.
Kilo Alpha Charlie Victor traffic Cessna November Charlie 77
Full
Charlie
rich.
Charlie is on final runway tree 2 to land.
I have the mixture now at full rich. I'm going to do another set of flaps there. And then we'll go ahead and adjust our power accordingly. It's like a little momentum graph right here. It shows you if you're, you know, how fast you're dropping. So we got it to about Y. Alert. Vertical navigation available. We are on a localizer. And to our left is Eureka! We got a little bit of rain. Steady glide path there. Now we are 8 nautical miles away from the runway. I'm gonna do full flaps. It brings your nose down. It does require you to increase your power. So it's not, certainly not as fuel efficient, but you can see the nose kind of go down a little bit now. And so that's the whole point, you know, of course, to slow the aircraft down and give your airplane a good attitude. It's always better to have a good attitude, no matter what situation you find yourself in. Make sure you always have a good attitude. Try not to have a bad attitude. Increase power a little bit here. Kind of floating up there a little bit. Trying to keep it on the Y. Got the RXGY. I don't know why in the world. I don't know. My mouse kind of got stuck. But we want to keep it on the Y, and then as we cross the threshold, of course, we'll bring the power down. But I am floating up and down here. I got a 15-knot crosswind. I have a feeling we're going to have to deal with that crosswind whenever we get the plane on the runway, coming right over the ocean. So this is real-time weather. This is real-time time. Flaps are down. Now we're starting to overspeed a little bit. Bring it down a little bit. Still running on the autopilot. 5 nautical miles away. I guess that's McKinleyville right there below us. Clam Beach. On the glide slope, a little bit less of a wind now, 12-knot wind. Some terrain over here. Well, it might be another reason why the ILS doesn't coincide. Maybe the ILS shoots high. But now we are going a little fast. We just have wind. I believe that's what that is. It's just a wind. It's an 11-knot wind now. And so the missed approach, remember that airplane they were saying going missed? And what they did is they would go to a missed approach procedure. And so what you would do, we already have it set at 5,700, but you would when you missed the runway, you would climb to the assigned and then go to the waypoint designated on the missed approach procedure. So we have, I see the PAPI lights now, and the PAPI lights are lined up, so we're doing good. We got 2 red and 2 white. See the PAPI lights right here. Precision Approach Path Indicator, that's what PAPI stands for. We got some Black Shark AI buildings down there, and I notice a lot of their Black Shark AI buildings have solar panels. Like that one right there. I wouldn't mind getting solar panels on my house. I might do that one of these days. Save on our electricity bill. I don't know how long the solar panels last, but I think they last a good while. I have my roof can, you know, a good portion of my roof facing sunshine, so no trees around, so we would capture plenty of sun. I'm going to go ahead and announce again.
Kilo Alpha Charlie Victor traffic says the November Charlie 77 Charlie Charlie is on final runway tree 2 to land.
In real life. We are on a good approach here. So we have
500.
a 4-knot wind now, so it's a little bit less now that one closer to the ground. That's a pretty sizable runway there, so I'd imagine there's some jet traffic going there on a regular basis. Happy lights are right there over the 1,000 foot marker. And that's our destination. Flaps full. Bringing the power back just a little bit. And I'm going to turn off the autopilot now. And we're just kind of trying to float her down. I got power to idle. A little long, but not bad. Okay. Flaps up. We have, well, no wind data now, but it was about a 4-knot wind. It's not bad. I was trying to steer over there at Crescent City with my rudder pedals, and I had a hard time steering, and it was probably because of the stiff wind there. So we got 2.
Kilo Alpha Charlie Victor
Clear the
traffic Cessna
runway.
November Charlie 77 Charlie Charlie is clear of the runway.
And welcome to Eureka! So we're going to find a place over here to park. This is real-time weather. I don't know how far the redwoods are from here, if we could ever see any redwoods from in-flight simulator. I don't know if they have the redwoods there or not. So what's going on here? Do we have... Okay, it's a little ways away. Looking at that bus right there. And what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and park right next to that bus because I want fuel. So we'll go ahead and park right next to that bus there. Hope we don't hit that bus. Well, I guess the bus is getting fuel too, I suppose. This is a fuel station, isn't it? Close right there. That's not the fuel station. Doing a backwards here. You go Shift P on your keyboard, and it brings you to pushback. It's called a pushback. I want to go on the other side of that bus there, and then Shift P again, and that stops it. Go ahead. I don't want to crash into that bus. That'd be embarrassing. I drive a bus for a living. I wonder though if you can get close to that fuel there, if it would activate the fuel. The bus is getting fuel. A little bit more. Kind of like in the way. I don't know why he's there. I guess he's getting fuel. Ah, look at that. You better not back into my plane, buddy. Alrighty. How come I'm not getting fuel? Fuel it up. Usually the fuel pops up. Okay. Go a little more. Okay, how come it's not popping up? I'm right on it now. Anyway. Well, the bus moved out of the way, so we can go on it straight on and get some fuel. Steering with my rudder pedals. Hey, can you fill it up with regular? Maybe that's just an air station. Oh, there we go. Thank you. So, on our flight here, we used, well, we started out with 50, and then I sat on the runway there for a little while to do all of this while the engine was running. But from Crescent City to Eureka, we're down to 35, so. And of course, we got to fill her up. Please fill her up, please. Alrighty, that's the end of this flight, and have a good day, everyone. Welcome to Eureka. I'm going to go ahead and speed up the drone here and we'll explore a little bit. I don't think we're going to see any redwoods around here though. But this is, was it McKinleyville? Is that what the map said? And then you go this way and then you're starting to head toward Eureka. This is real-time weather. Traffic circle there. Some farmland. Well, definitely probably a very beautiful area of California. My wife and I one year we did spend a night in Eureka. And we just spent the night there. We were on our way home and we were coming from Santa Cruz, California. And we spent the night in Eureka. And here's Eureka. Must be probably a high school down there. Baseball fields, whatnot. And then some of the ocean there, the bay. It's probably Highway 101 there. It's a very beautiful area. There's some baseball fields. Going along Highway 101. You hear the birds? Some traffic. We're going right now toward where we just landed. There's a couple of more baseball fields there. This is all satellite data, non-photogrammetry. Look at the beach. Nice. And then of course this is our runway. Not the runway we landed, but this is our airport. Alrighty. Here we go. Have a good day, everybody.